Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're recording. Joanne, could you do a roll call vote, please? Make sure we have a quorum.
Absolutely. Maureen DeBeer,
Present.
Ruth Dries,
Here.
David Burness,
Here.
John Gregg,
I'm here.
yeah, Richard Handelson,
Here.
John Hess,
Here.
Kelly Jansen,
Here.
Bobby Levin couldn't be here, and Joyce Reese.
Yes.
And the officers, Dominic
Here.
Dominic is here.
and Stuart Richland,
Here.
Fausto Fabro,
Here.
Patricia Caputo,
Here.
David Boaz,
Yes.
and I'm here, and we have a quorum.
Thank you. Please review the minutes of the previous meeting, and I'll give you a minute, and then we'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes. So I'll entertain a motion of the original meeting,
Motion to accept. Second.
okay? And then the special operations meeting of February the 16th. I'll entertain a motion for that also.
I make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Cool. Are there any changes or any alterations to the minutes as presented? Yes, David?
On the 16th, I don't know if the bid is from Jack Brown and Associates. He's part of it, but he's not the roofer.
Campany.
Is he actually the roofer as
Yes,
well?
Campany, no, Brown is the engineer,
Right, but he's not the roofer.
he's not the roofer.
Right. So that needs to be adjusted. Thank you, David. All right. Any other alterations or changes to the minutes? All right. Minutes will be accepted as corrected. Monica, you're up.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
How we doing today?
Good.
Great. If you want to take a look at your financial package today, this is for the 2 months ended December 31st. For the month of December, we have $507,000 in revenue and $597,000 in expenses, so that gives us a loss of just under $90,000 for the month. For the 2 months, the income is $995,000. The expenses $1,116,000. So we have a loss of $121,000. On the far right-hand side of the page is your variance between your budget and the actual results of operations. If you scan down that column, you'll see that the largest variance is repairs and maintenance. And I just wanted to briefly mention one of the reasons for that is we have 3 projects that carried over from the prior budget year into the current budget year. And at the time we prepared the budget, we thought those projects were going to be completed. Those 3 projects Dan is going to be giving us an update on today. So we're going to be over budget in maintenance and repair overall, but because we thought those projects would have been finished in the last completed fiscal year, our surplus at the end of last year is much larger than what I anticipated it would be. And it's large enough to cover this amount of money that's carrying over into the new budget year. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, any questions there? Okay. At the bottom of this page is your social activity summary. For the month of December, between your theater and dances, the revenue was $31,000, and we spent $29,000 for the performers, so we had a profit of $2,400. For the 2 months, the income for theater and dances was $47,000. We spent $49,000, so we have a loss of $2,400. We budgeted a loss for those 2 months of $9,800, so we have a positive variance of $7,400 for the 2 months. The next report is your cash balances. Again, this is as of December 31st. Our total operating funds were at $764,000. Our infrastructure improvements reserve, first we have the windstorm deductible reserves is at $615,000, and our contingency infrastructure reserves is at just over $100,000. So our total reserve funds $716,000, and total available cash $1,480,000. Any questions? Okay. The third report is your social activities profit and loss report, and this is for January. So for the month of January, we had 5,648 tickets sold to your theater performances. We collected $73,000. After reducing your gross sales for the audience view cost and sales tax, our net sales are $65,000. And we paid $76,000 to the performers, so we have a loss for January of $11,500. For your Friday night dances, 658 people attended your dances, for which we paid $1,340. And for the 4 movies that took place during January, 1,143 people attended the movies, which we paid $1,284. So when you combine your theater, dances, and your movies, the net loss for the month of January alone for those 3 activities for the whole month was $14,133. Questions, comments? Okay. Next report is revenue collected from guests. This is also through the month of January. Year to date, for the first 3 months of our fiscal year, you had box office sales to residents of $89,770, $28,286 purchased by guests. So our total box office sales, $118,000. Number of tickets sold, 7,193 tickets sold to guests, 1,808 tickets sold, 7,193 tickets sold to residents, 1,808 tickets sold to guests, for a total of 9,001 tickets. So when it comes to the tickets, that's 80% residents and 20% are guests. The guest fees generated as part of those box office sales, specifically to guests, was $5,424, because as you know, each guest ticket adds $3 to the regular ticket price for a resident ticket price. We collected guest passes sold in the ID office, $10,205. Additional guest passes sold in the staff office, $2,792. So our total generated from guests November through January, $18,421. My final report today is Kelly, do you have a question?
Yeah, so for January, it says net sales of $64,740. When I look at the next page with the revenue collected for January for the theater, it's $50,000. What piece am I missing there?
Okay, the page before is based on, I understand your question.
Okay.
That's a very good question.
Yep.
The revenue on the page before is only based on theater performances that happened during the month of January.
Yep.
This can reflect every ticket that's sold,
Gotcha.
no matter what
So
month
they
it's
don't,
in.
okay, it's not
Yes.
apples to apples. Thank you.
Exactly, sure. Last report is Estaples, and this is also through January. For the 3 months, there were 115 units sold in this community. The same period in the prior year, 148 units sold. We collected $24,940 in Estaples fees this year, compared to the prior year where we collected $31,190. So we're down 34 units, or 23%, and $6,250 less in collected Estaples fees. And that's pretty standard, pretty much everywhere.
I have a question.
Certainly.
When we're talking the guest sales, we have 24% on one column, and then on the other column, we have 20%. Where did we lose 4%?
Well, you didn't, it's because the first 2 columns is just a percentage of the total
Yeah,
dollar sales.
right.
The second column is a percentage of the number of tickets sold.
Okay, because of
So they're
the,
mutually
Right.
exclusive.
okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Dan, you're up. Roof update.
Okay, good afternoon, guys. Southampton, it was scheduled to be done today, but unfortunately they had a delivery problem with the shingles, so they'll be doing it tomorrow, so it'll be closed for another day. Should only be a day's project, so it should be done after that, but it went pretty smoothly. Okay. Kent Pool pavers, pretty much in the picture you saw that it was done. We had some issues there where on the coping side of it, some of the side tiles came off. We're trying to see if we can find a match for that. If not, we're going to have to replace that, okay, and we're getting cost on the perimeter if we can't match that tile. Okay, but that's where we're at. The other thing is on this one here, you can see that we went further than the 4 foot that we normally went to, okay? Unfortunately, in our RFP, it did not have that we put a 4 foot perimeter with pavers cut in. So we're also getting a price because, of course, the state is gonna hit us on that when it comes to, because we have to have a 4 foot clearance from the pool edge to that side where we're gonna cut it in with pavers. So that will, we're getting a price on that also, okay? We're looking at changing the RFP on any other pool we do to make sure if it goes past. Normally it goes to the 4 feet, that's where we do it. This one, because of the cracks and everything, we went further than that, you know? But after we went out there and took a look at it, I looked at it and we saw that we had to put the 4 foot barrier in.
Dan?
We went out, actually it was about 8.5 feet because of many, many cracks, so.
Dan?
Yeah? Yes, Kelsey.
So I saw the missing pavers, then there were also a couple areas that weren't marked off, that had some that were missing large chunks, but not the whole paver. Are you looking at those too?
Right, everything
Okay,
that you
perfect.
saw, that's the perimeter to fill in. What happened when that pool was redone, okay, the cap tiles that you see up on the top were wider than the original base. So they had to fill that in. When they removed the deck, it just fell off because it was not part of the original pour, okay? So, it's just something that was that way for many years, and then when they pulled the concrete off, it basically falls, because the pool should be floating, it should not be touching, you know, the deck in itself.
Thank you.
The other is the shower. As you can see, we're slowly getting there with inspections and all, okay? The cost that Monica was saying here was a lot of it on the change order that we had because of piping that was eroded there on the cast iron that was originally there 60-something years ago. When we started the shower, there was a change order because we had a broken water main, which caused a hole underneath there, and we had to put fill inside there. As we continued to keep looking at the piping that they had to tie into, it was just completely corroded. Okay, so we replaced a good 40-50 feet of pipe plus all the original pipes that are going for the toilets inside there. With that, it had to be all cut up, and also new tile had to be put down inside there. That's why it's taking a little longer than usual. Okay, any questions on that?
Okay. Abby just wanted me to mention a reminder that the approval meeting for season 24-25 is March 19th, 1 o'clock here in this room.
Okay, the Dorchester pool, we did email out, and I guess it was just yesterday that this was done, so, if you want time to take a look at it, okay, and see the RFP, but there is a big difference between the high and the low bid there, okay, so you're looking at a $15,000 difference when you look at it. We did check with all the vendors, okay, they basically are following that RFP, as what we sent out, so, and this is on the fence line, we removed it from, remember, the 6 foot down to the 4 foot, okay, level.
Yeah.
So that was a big,
There's some questions about that.
yes, go ahead.
A lot of people are not happy with the 4-foot fence.
Okay, all right.
And there was a 6-foot fence there, and I think we should, I mean, it's only been 9 years that Dorchester's been waiting for a fence. Maybe a little longer, at least 9 years that I know of. We've painted it, we've fixed it, but I know I've spoken to a couple of the officers, and we feel uncomfortable with the 4-foot fence.
okay, it's just the cost, so no problem, we'll bring it up. So whatever you did, we'll have to redo it, and we'll bring it back to you, because we have those costs. So we'll give them back to you. This is from our last meeting, we
Right.
talked
I know.
about, okay.
It is a standard in the other villages, you're all at 4 feet.
But, David, I know you had some questions
That's why
about it.
we priced
I know.
it.
There isn't no, there's a standard that the lowest you could go is 4 feet. So, and the highest, I think it's 8 feet, but I don't know if you want to go with that kind of cost around a pool.
I don't know, do any of the other pools have a 4-foot fence?
They're all chain link, other than the.
I didn't ask that, I said, what's the height?
They're all 6 foot.
6
No,
foot?
no.
Oh, no, there's
Just
4
very-
foot at Dorchester. There's
Yeah,
different heights,
Golf
right?
Section 4.
Over at,
Hastings.
in Southampton.
And our pools are at 4 feet. The guest pools, the guest pool and the resident pool are at 4 feet. And Hastings, I think, is higher.
6 foot.
6 foot, right.
6 foot. But at the guest pool, you also close the island off. You don't have that luxury at the other pools. I just had my hip replaced, and I'm not going to have any trouble climbing over a 4-foot fence
Oh, I can see that.
after hours. I think we're asking our security people, and of course,
And he's gonna do it.
Yeah.
the security after hours is not done by WPRF.
I have no problem, we brought this up, and if it's, we'll get the cost of it, like I said, so.
I
All it
think
was, we were trying to save money, that's all. Okay.
No, I understand that, and I appreciate that very much. I think we should also get a price on a chain link fence. And if you go and see what we did, on going out to Haverhill Road, and also what we did on Haverhill Road, those fences are nice looking, and they are on 5-foot centers. I think we should get a price on that as well. You can get it black or green, and I don't have anything aesthetically against a chain link fence. But I do have something against a 4-foot fence. I can see people climbing over it or throwing things over it without any problem at all. That's just my opinion on that.
With the current, I want to be nice, with some of the people that are coming into the village now and their family members that have very little respect for anybody, I think that 4-foot fence could become a game for them to jump over
Right.
once the pools are closed. And we were discussing that today, that it could become a safety issue.
So, just so we're clear, we'll get a price on the chain link fence and also the
Yeah.
metal, mechanical fence.
Well, yeah, I mean, the chain link fence, we painted it, we fixed it so many times. But I think the 5-foot on center makes it a lot stronger to, and, it's only a couple of extra poles. We're not talking, and I think we were looking at a vinyl coated fence, right? Yeah. So whether it's black or green, whatever goes. the consensus of the officers that we spoke to today said that 4 foot is just an invitation for somebody to jump over.
Just more of an athletic village than the others.
Exactly.
I don't know what to tell you.
Is Camden 6 feet?
Yes.
Camden is
Yes.
6, right, that's what
Yeah.
you have over there. But you know, it's dark, when they turn the lights go off at the pool, at the Dorchester pool at night, it's dark over there. It's a dark area.
Yeah.
So anybody,
Okay,
okay,
we'll definitely walk
since
into
I
it.
live right there.
Okay?
I got one, Dan.
Yes.
The scope of work that probably Asia did was very good. It would be good on all of the proposals if they at least reference that into their proposal. You know, because it's covering so much more than their proposal is, and if we're gonna hold them to a contract, referencing that into the proposal will make it much easier.
Yes. And when we do, just to let you know, on our RFP, when they sign our contract, it's over $10,000, it's inside their
Good,
contract.
okay.
Okay, so
Yep.
there's no question exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
They have to, so we put the scope of work, they come back and they sign. We don't sign any of their paperwork, they sign our contract.
Good, great, thank you. Thanks for the clarification. Good job, Asia, on that,
Yes.
on the
Good job,
scope of work.
See, that's a good job. I think.
That's it for you. So we have, excuse me. We're going to discuss again the gate access program. And this was where any resident could enter endless amounts of people on their list. There's no way to, at this time, to cap that. So what was discussed was to do it a total of 6 entries. What was also discussed was that those would drop at the end of each year. But I can tell you that ABDI is recommending that that would create a real nightmare, and he doesn't recommend it at all. And the cost is likely to be around 3 hours of programming at $215 an hour.
What? To drop it and bring it, to drop those at the.
To put in the new parameters.
So this came about, for those of you that don't remember, where we had 1 or 2 apartments that had 60 people on their permanent guest list, which is like a turnstile. So we've been talking about this for,
Since the days of Ed Black.
so, yeah, it's been since before COVID that we looked into it. A couple of months ago, this committee decided that 6 was the number that they would want. So we asked, I think it was David that asked, how much would it cost us to do the change? And that's what we're getting. It's $215 an hour times 3 hours to reprogram it so that it would be the first 6 people on that list would stay on the list, and it would be the responsibility of the unit owner to make the changes. If you have an aide, or if you have a son or a daughter, to make sure that that list is kept current. Yes?
How
Joyce?
many hours would it take for them to change the program, as far as money-wise?
2 to 3 hours at $215 an hour.
Okay, I
So we're looking at less than
it's worth
$700.
it to me.
Yes,
You
John?
want a motion on that, or?
But, well, all right,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah, you know, when you consider how much we pay for our overall security,
Right,
and how big a hole this is in that program,
Nothing.
right.
you know, thanks for bringing it up originally, Fausto, and, you know, that's not an absorbent price per hour for a
No.
programmer, and well worth it in my mind.
So, why don't we start by making a motion?
I make the motion, we.
John makes the motion. Who's gonna second it? Okay.
I second it.
Okay, Richard Handelsman seconds the motion. Now we can discuss it. Go ahead, David.
I'm in favor of this, but I just want to make sure that we have a good consensus of 6 being the magic number.
Well, this committee voted on it about 3 months ago. There was a long, lengthy discussion, 6, 8, 10. A motion was made for 6, and I believe it passed almost unanimously.
Okay, that's fine.
Huh?
Do we need a motion for this? It's
Yes.
less than $1,000. We
Uh,
already agreed that we're changing.
Yeah, but it needs to be, to go on the record, because some unit owners might say, why can't I have 7? Why can't I have 10?
But I thought we were, because I do
Well,
remember
the
that
committee
discussion.
voted on 6. The question was, how much is it going to cost us?
Okay.
So we're approving the cost.
Small amounts of money.
Right, it's a small amount.
John,
The other, go ahead, John.
So when they program that, 6 is the maximum they can put on it.
That's it. So you can,
If they want an extra one, they gotta delete somebody and add another
exactly,
one.
and it's up to the individual unit owner. I'm not in favor of it dropping, and this will be phased in. Eva and I spoke about this, that once it gets passed, we would wait until we're off-season,
Right.
okay? And we will give everybody enough notice that as of this date, everybody beyond 6 is going to be dropped. Yes, Michael?
Is that going to wipe the current registrar, or will
No.
that be kept intact?
No. Whatever, if you have 6 people, 6 people will stay on here. If you have 10, the first 6 will remain and everybody else will be gone. The other part of this that I'm not happy with from the first week, that when you put somebody on your permanent guest list, they're there forever. Okay? But we'll entertain that somewhere down the road. I think just by limiting those 6, I think that is going to prevent some of the issues. David, you had your hand up?
You're covered, yeah.
Okay, Joyce?
Yeah, I agree with that, because I know that people sometimes have work done in their buildings, and they put them on the list. I know I've done it, but I've always remembered to take them off, like an end date. Not everyone puts an end date, that's the
But you're
problem.
you're a good person,
No, that goes without
you
saying.
know. So there are people, trust me, there are, when Eva, myself, and Donald started looking at this, and we found a 1-bedroom apartment had 62 people on their permanent guest list, we were kind of shocked.
I don't know that many people.
Yeah.
WPRF didn't have that many people on their permanent guest list. So it's something that needs to be addressed, and like David said, it becomes a security issue. We want to try to close, to be as mindful as we can to the residents and to their needs without exceeding. Yes, Maureen?
Emergency contacts are up at the top, right now?
Yes.
And how many are you allowed for emergency contacts?
6.
No, emergency contacts.
Right? It's 6 people on that list.
Oh, so
It's a total of 6 people.
if you have, say, my son on there and my daughter on there as emergency contacts, then
Yeah.
that makes 2.
That's
and
it.
you're only allowed 4
One more, right. The total number on that list will be 6.
Okay,
Right.
perfect.
And yes, Richard?
When you say the first 6, do you mean alphabetically or?
No. 1 through 6, who's ever on that list. Not alphabetically,
Numeric.
numeric, 1 through 6. If you have 12, the first 6 will stay, the second 6 will be gone. It'll be up to the individual unit owner to go on that list and adjust it.
Michael Zaslow, is that okay with you?
Yeah.
Numerically instead of alphabetically?
You know, I appreciate that, and as a representative of people with Z as a last name, I do approve that.
Okay, yes, John?
I think we beat this enough.
We've only been discussing it for 4 years.
I know.
So,
I think we need to
I
take
think
a vote.
if there's no more questions, we will call for a roll call vote. Joanne?
All right. John Gregg made a motion, seconded by Richard Handelsman. See if I got this right. To change the guest entry system and have ABDI make the changes to the system, estimated to cost $215 per hour and take approximately 3 hours to complete.
Not, the guest, permanent guest is not to exceed 6 people. That's the most important part. 6 entries. Thank you. I'm a foreigner, I didn't get tongue-tied sometimes.
Okay, so all that not to exceed 6 entries.
Right.
All right. Maureen de Beguer,
Yes.
Bruce Dries,
Yes.
David Tornes,
Yes.
John Gregg,
Yeah.
Richard Handelsman,
Yes.
John Hess,
Yes.
Kelly Jansen,
Yes.
and Joyce Reese.
Yes.
Motion carries. Let me see about the officers. Dominic Granaccio,
Yes, yep, you say yes.
Stuart Richland,
Yes.
Fausto Fabro,
Yes,
Patricia Caputo,
Yes.
David Boaz,
Yes.
and I say yes. So it is unanimous.
we'll work on the timeline, Eva. We'll find out from ABDI how long it would actually take them, and then we'll pick maybe June or July, when we have the least amount of residents here, to put it into effect. And that'll give us, once we have that, we'll notify everybody in writing, we'll put it on the TV, everybody, but give them an opportunity to make adjustments to that list once it happens.
Right.
We'll coordinate, your office and our office will
Yeah,
coordinate.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Maybe put it in the packet at the delegate
Well,
assembly.
well, once all the details
Yeah.
have been, we need to coordinate, and we'll pick a time. ABDI may say, look, I can't do it before whatever, but we're gonna give everybody at least 3 or 4 months to be aware that this change is going to take effect and what day it will take effect. Yes, yep, okay. Go to the order. Do you have anything that anybody would like to discuss at this time? New business? Okay, John?
David, did you get that flyer I dropped off at the office?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
What's it about?
About this guy who came into the dance on this past Saturday and passed out all these flyers about trivia and 50/50 giveaways and all this other stuff. I sent it, I give it to the,
It's a resident who wants to start a trivia club. And so, again, they don't know that they can't do those things.
I know, that's what I figured. So I give it to the office and they were supposed to forward it to you.
Okay. I was probably in the meeting when you dropped it off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
John Hess, you had your hand up?
Yeah, and a person inquired as to what happened to all the tables under the awning at the Kent Pool. There's only 4 there now, and there used to be, I don't know, 6 or 7, so
Well, we'll have to get the rest of them back over.
I just,
They should, whatever was there, you should get back.
okay.
Yes, Kelly?
So Eva, these gentlemen asked to come talk about a question about the pool. Is now the right time for that?
Under good of the order, yes.
Okay. He would like a microphone tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. I spoke 2 months ago, and I'm back here. Anybody that doesn't remember, my name is Herb Cohn. I live right in Somerset Sea. Besides being your neighbor, I have a big job in my life. I'm the president of the biggest cancer research group in the world.
No, I remember him.
We work hard to help thousands of people fighting cancer. Today I want to talk to you again about something really important. How we can protect ourselves from skin cancer right here in our community. Skin cancer is the kind of cancer that a lot of people get, and it often happens because we spend too much time in the sun without protection. One simple thing we can do is add more shade and plant some bushes around our pools. This isn't just make it look nice, it's a way to keep us safe from sun harm's rays. When we have more shade, we can still enjoy the outdoor without worrying much about skin cancer. By doing this, we're not only just making our pool area better, we are taking care of our health. It's like saying we understand how serious skin cancer is. And let me tell you something very important. I live across the street of the pool. A lot of immune system people, they come there, sick people, they have the immune system low, especially after COVID. Even though they recovered from COVID, their immune system is the lowest. They cannot fight it. And if we want to help our people, if we want to help everybody, we need to look out for somebody else before we do for ourselves. Please have mercy and understand exactly what we're here for. We are here to help protect skin cancer, especially in the state of Florida. I'm asking the board about this more than just fixing the place. It's a way to show care about each other's health. Let's work together to make our community safer and healthier. I offered, and I want to thank very much for Eva, what she's doing. She's trying to help her best what she could help. She said the financial problem, I have a charity organization which have helped to build that public pool for doing bushes or whatever needs to be done. Understand what skin cancer is the #1 killer in Florida. I'm sorry for being so harsh, but that's the way it is. And let's help other people. I appreciate for you, all of you, for listening to me. And anybody has to ask me, I'm here to help. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Eva, on Friday night, I was at the dance, and there are something happened over there that really upset me. One of the residents, I've never seen him there before, but I was told that he's been there before, was moving chairs around. They tried to put 2 extra chairs on the table. Debbie, one of the ushers, walked over and was very nice and said, "You gotta put those chairs back." Well, guy was probably 6'4", 6'5", got in her face, screaming and yelling, putting his arms back like this, like he was gonna knock her out. Okay, shouldn't go on. And I'm sure Debbie might know who the person is. I don't know if she reported it or not, but
No.
that's not a good thing. They should, I'm sure maybe the person was drinking, but that's besides the point. There was also somebody else that I saw, and it took one of the ushers 15 minutes. There was a guy dancing with a container on the dance floor before one of the ushers went over and said, "You can't do that."
And he complied, or did
He did comply. He did, but it shouldn't take that long for somebody to realize, especially that the person was like within 8 feet
Right.
of, and I understand the dance floor might have been a little crowded, but the man's arms were flinging nicely with the container up in the air. So I'm just bringing it to your attention because I was in fear that the guy was going to hit your usher.
Okay, well, I will definitely reach out to Debbie and find out what happened.
Right?
What time was that? I don't
You weren't there.
I-
You hadn't come yet.
I was there earlier. Maybe
I
right
mean,
before.
no resident should be that aggressive towards anybody in that place,
No, and that's true.
especially one of the volunteers.
But we had that problem with the Sweetheart students
Yeah.
also. Well, you knew about that.
I knew about that, and I spoke to the gentleman.
Yes.
So,
It's a thing with the party room and the dance, people want to sit 10, 12 people at a table.
You know,
They don't get it.
what I've come to realize, especially since we've put in the cameras and I get to watch all this footage when something happens, people really pay very little attention to their own safety. They don't watch where they put their feet, they're busy looking somewhere else or on their phone. You know, we do the best we can by making sure we take care of, and there are no trip hazards, but there's a responsibility that each person has to themselves. And by putting all these tables around the chairs, It's not made for that. The chairs are gonna stick out even further, and there's a greater risk that someone's going to trip. It's easier to spot someone moving a table than chairs. It's almost impossible to police, you know, but they're trying, and we will keep trying, and they just don't understand. You know, they want what they want, and they don't understand. We have rules to keep them safe.
Can security be called in for?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely, you bring them in, because then they're gonna request his ID, there's gonna be an incident report written that winds up on my desk, and then I make a phone call. I talk to everyone, so to help them understand, you know, that I need them to comply, and what happens if they don't.
Anything else for the good of the order? I'll entertain a motion that we adjourn. John made a motion.
I'll second that.
What about the Dorchester? I thought we were
No,
gonna
that's all.
That's all done.
That's all done.
The roof, that was a special session. You approved the minutes
Yeah.
with the corrections that David picked up.
Motion to adjourn.
All right. Have a wonderful day, everybody.
Thank you.
You did all that?
Yeah, well, I'm happy to hear about all that gate stuff. The gate business about the 6 inch, because that's way.
No, it first started out, it wasn't that bad, and over a couple of years,